Hello everyone, welcome back to Hornet Half Hour. We're in a different studio this time. I'm in Michael Westbrook's studio. He is, what would you call yourself actually?
Teacher, advisor, and sports production guy.
Sports production guy, all of the above, wears a lot of hats.
Yes.
Thanks for letting us use your studio for this.
You're welcome. I always like to show off this place if we can.
So broadcast media at Bryant, like the class, has grown significantly since you got here.
Yes, that's right. So there was a film course when I started here, but there was kind of a one-year gap in between the last person and myself. And then at the time, Evelyn Butler was the career tech coordinator here. Dr. Todd Edwards was the principal, and along with other administrative staff, decided to switch to the broadcast pathway. So they were able to get a grant to kind of get things started. Buy new computers. We even have an online textbook. We have different things that fit more of the broadcast format. And so that's when I was hired to come in and kind of flip the switch and go from film to broadcast. Now, over the last 5 years, we've thrown in some film from time to time, but essentially news production, sports production is how that came about back in 2021.
And do you think, for those who don't know, you kind of mentioned a little bit of what you cover in these classes, but what's kind of like, you mentioned sports and news.
Yeah. So, and we're kind of right in the middle of some changes at the state level as well, where my intro classes are intro to digital arts. And so then beyond that, students can come back for a second and third year, and we're focusing more on news production. And then we also have a dedicated class. It's always been sixth period since I've been here, sports production. And actually, this is my fifth year. This is just the fourth year of sports production. So that came along in the second year. And that's one thing that I have to give kudos to the Bryant School District and administrators for listening to my vision, because it was clear we wanted to do sports production. But to get that off the ground in the very first year is really tough.
That is, like, I used to be a sports producer guy, and like it is so hard. Like it takes a giant team. And
I have seen a lot of teachers across the state and region struggle with that in some ways when they're thrown into that. So Bryant gave me the first year to get my feet on the ground. We started sports production the second year. And so those are the two, I guess, marquee classes, the Hornet Media News team, and they produce the Bryant Buzz, which is our monthly news magazine show, formatted similar to a 60-minute style. You just have a few stories. They run a little more in depth. And then our sports production is now just doing about a little bit of everything, almost 40 broadcasts a year.
That is crazy.
Yeah, it's a lot.
And you kind of mentioned, so the students make it themselves.
They do. Yes. What's also kind of interesting, this is my 10th year teaching, and so at my last school at Arkansas High, and I always love to mention Arkansas High when I get to do these things. I know it's maybe not a little unorthodox, but they really taught me how to be a teacher there. And it was a smaller environment, so I could go with the students when we were filming stories on campus. You know, a small class, let's all go over here, let's all go figure this out together. I mean, you could really tell them exactly which shot to get and what soundbite, right, to ask for. Came to Bryant, much bigger place, many more students. And so there has only been one, maybe two stories that I have actually been with the students when they go to film them for the news class.
For over 5 years?
Over 5 years. And one of those was in our studio. They did a story on us, you know. And then one of the other ones was actually a story on the sports team. Okay. So to my knowledge, I think the only two that I've really been there with them have been those two. And so, yeah, 100%, this is their show. They come up with their story ideas. They sit down in groups and begin formulating who they're going to interview and what that B-roll is going to look like and the nat sound. And I'm getting into all these news terms that people maybe don't care about. But our process...
Yeah, I know exactly.
Yeah,
I'm sure
our process to put together a news magazine show that runs September, October, November. And
should be fun.
Yeah. September, October, November. And then January and February. And then we kind of begin to focus on competition. So 5 shows a year. Our monthly magazine news show, including ever since I started here. We had the very first one in September of 2021 and haven't missed one of those each year.
And you're talking about the extravaganza?
Well, no, so that's in December. So we take a break from our monthly magazine news show to do the Hornet Media Extravaganza every December, the 6-hour live show where we showcase all sorts of different things that they've learned, whether it's during the semester or during the year, depending on how many years I've had them.
And it's always a huge deal. You'll see us on the website like promoting the heck out of it whenever we're doing it. And I got to say, because you also come from television beforehand. I came from television too, and that's how you learn, is doing a gigantic show, because I mean, it's just nonstop, and they all learn. Yeah,
it can be a challenge to teach sometimes, because you have to have that hands-on aspect of this to really learn how to do it. And you have to have things go wrong sometimes before you can figure out.
Something will go wrong.
Yeah, before you can figure out what's supposed to go right or how to fix it. Yeah. Troubleshooting. And so, yes, the reason we started doing the Hornet Media Extravaganza, it actually started it at my last school. I found that 3-week period from when you come back from Thanksgiving break to Christmas break is a real challenging time to continue to motivate students, right?
Definitely.
Is that a nice way of putting it?
The workforce too.
Yeah, and so this gave us something that they could take a hold of, and it was something that they could be proud of. And this year was the fifth one that we've had here at Bryant, and we had a dozen or so alumni come back. They talk about it during the year. You know, they amp up the new students and reach out to them and tell them, hey, what are you doing for the extravaganza? And
so it's like a tradition.
It's become a tradition. Yeah. It's become something that we're proud of, and really it's a fun day. Yeah.
And what are the other guests? Like, I've seen the mayor come.
Yeah, we always try to have, of course, the principal of Bryant High School. We want to have the mayor of Bryant in. That's another area where the concept of this at my last school, I knew they weren't going to go for kind of a free-for-all. Okay, they wanted it to be structured. So we started off with the chief of police and all these big interviews. And as we've gotten here, Bryant has really been open to making sure the students show some personality and have a little more interest in it. So we play some fun games. We have the ugly sweater competition, because you got to have that.
Absolutely.
We wrap Christmas presents to see who can wrap the best Christmas present. But we do splice in 2 to 3 really positive, informative interviews throughout every hour as well, making sure we're showcasing our campus and community. That's kind of been our mindset.
And you guys do a great job at that.
Thank you.
And I know from personal experience, like, that's how shows are structured. Like, you got the fun stuff. You usually start with the heavy stuff, and then you go to the fun stuff, and you're showcasing all of it.
So here's one for you, Zach. We used 2 different live streaming units. That's the unit that we used to get the show on the air. 10 cameras and 11 microphones, and with 18 students.
That is a studio, and that's what we're trying to say is, like, Bryant has an insane broadcast, what's the word I'm looking for? Program.
Yeah.
Yep. Like, it's so good that at my former job at THV, whenever I said I was going to move to Bryant, they were like, oh, you got to check out that news program.
That's a great compliment.
And speaking of something to be proud of, could you explain what SkillsUSA is and why you guys are so good at it?
I'm not sure I can give you the why, but I can try. So SkillsUSA is the largest career tech organization in the United States for high school students. It's actually for college students as well, and there's even a handful of junior high, middle school categories. But high school is right in the midst of their largest enrollment, largest membership. And so we are supposed to be affiliated with the Career Tech organization as a CTE program. And SkillsUSA is the one that we've chosen to be a part of. The way it works for us is we have 4 different categories we can compete in. Most years we are picking 2 categories that we want to really try to excel in. Other years we try to expand it out. Maybe we do compete in 3 or 4. And so we have digital cinema. Again, that falls more a little bit on the film side. So we stay away from that one some years. Okay. We have a television commercial category where you've done plenty of those.
Yes.
But they go out and produce a commercial. Video news production, and that's been our big one, and then audio production. They're all team events. That's what makes it a little bit unique for the Hornet Media students. We have some other programs that compete in SkillsUSA. One of them is our graphics design program. They have been phenomenal as well, winning state championships. Robotics is jumping in, and they're going to do skills this year with us. So it's more than just TV. We will go in April to the Hot Springs Convention Center, and you can look in one corner and there will be people welding, and you can look in the other corner and there will be someone learning how to be a police officer.
I didn't know
everything
that
in between.
Wow. Oh my gosh!
So
I assumed it was just tech stuff.
So what makes our audio production competition difficult is imagine putting together an audio report in that environment where there's that much noise, and you've got to make it sound good. And you've got to really focus on your sound and getting interviews. So,
and that kind of goes back to you saying, like, in order to teach this, they have to do it.
Yes. And so, in some ways, what I think does make ours difficult is that, take a welder, for instance. Well, they're doing this type of weld. They can sit in their bay at the Career Tech Center, and they can practice and practice and practice that same weld and be ready for the competition. But for us, 50,000 square foot facility, thousands of people in there, who are you going to interview? What are they going to say? How are you going to turn that into a written script and tell a story? So that's what we have to do in a live environment. Most of them, you get about 4 hours to complete your assignment. In a live environment, the teacher cannot communicate at all with the students. So most years I just kind of stand outside the convention center because I get a little nervous.
I would be too, yeah.
In recent years, I've found other teacher friends to go visit with and keep my mind occupied. But it's a stressful time for the students. I mean, you talk about a 16-year-old, 17-year-old, whatever, given a prompt and saying you have 4 hours to go complete this, and here's your floor, here's your place where you go work. And so it's a lot.
It is a lot, but you guys have, I'm looking at I can see the trophies from in the studio. Can you say off the top of your head how many you've won,
so on the audio production side, we've been able to compete 4 years since I've been here. This will be my 5th year. On the audio production side, we have finished in first place twice and second place twice. Man. So only the first place winner qualifies for nationals. That's the other avenue of this. So you have to win your state competition first in Hot Springs. Only the winner qualifies for the national event in Atlanta, Georgia over the summer. My 2 teams in audio production that have won state went on to the national competition and finished second place 1 year and finished first place in the nation the next year.
That is super
really a major accomplishment for those 2 students. It was the same 2 students both years. So that's really cool. Then the video news production side, those students, a team of 4, have won the state competition 4 years in a row.
Just dominating.
And while they have dominated at the state level, it's incredibly tough. All of them are incredibly tough at the national level, but you can always count on Texas, you can always count on California, and a handful of other states that are always going to be on that medal stand at nationals. And so in our first 3 years here, Bryant finished 7th in the nation, 7th in the nation again, down year the year after, a number that we're not really proud of. I think 18th, but that's okay. We had to do what we had to do. And then last year's team finished second place in the nation.
That is
and so
crazy.
3 years in a row now, technically, in our 2 categories, they've been able to get on the medal stand, which is essentially what you're going for at nationals. You know, if you make the medal stand, you've done something. So those kids have really done something.
That is just something to be like super proud of. And
you found a topic I can talk about for a long time,
yeah,
Zach.
like it is like just as much as football is dominating, like this area is dominating.
Well, and we use athletics as a way to motivate our students here. The sports production class helps. So we talk about the other career tech education classes that have done well, the journalism classes that have done well, the arts that have done well here, and then athletics, and we want to be like them. We want to be at that level.
And speaking of athletics, how many shows or how many sports broadcasts a year? Did you say?
It's roughly 40, and this will be the most this year. That's another thing that Bryant was really worked well with me on, the athletic department, Coach Bach, and not doing it all at once. So that first year we started with football and basketball, and then we've added volleyball, and then we've now added a little bit of baseball and softball.
My goodness. What would you say is like the toughest sport to follow or to broadcast? Because I have my answer.
So I'm also the play-by-play announcer for the football team, and so
that's right.
So the students are actually doing 100% of the behind-the-scenes work.
You're just the voice.
Yeah, and I can occasionally talk to them during commercial breaks. And so for them, I think that's probably the hardest because they're really having to kind make decisions on their own without an adult helping them.
That tracks. And they got to sprint like across the to get the footage.
Yes, going back and forth on the field. There's a lot of variety there that they have to consider. But usually after about the third or fourth game, they're really good at what they do. Baseball and softball is going to be really just the toughest all the way around.
That was my actual answer.
That's actually number one, just from the standpoint of all of us, because where's the ball going?
Yeah, you don't know what's going to happen.
Yeah,
football, you know it's going that way. Baseball.
Now, that for me, I grew up just listening to baseball games on the radio. That was my thing, and wanted to be a Major League Baseball announcer was my ultimate goal. And so I love the game of baseball, but also teaching it is difficult for students because it really is a mental game. And you have to understand why is this player moving here, if this is happening here. And there is a lot of teaching involved in that can be difficult. We try to spend a little bit of class time in that to get them ready for that.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
What would you say is like you're teaching them here so they can move on with the skills? What are some of those skills that they're learning here?
I learned several years ago, I'm going to mention Dr. Jeff Root. He's the Dean of Communications at Ouachita Baptist University. He gave me some great advice. Really, if there's several people who have influenced my career in broadcast and also teaching, but he's one of them at the top of the list. And he said, you have to remember your goal is not to make everybody become a news anchor. Your goal is to give them teachable skills that will help them in the workforce. Do they know how to properly fill out a resume? Do they know how to follow up for that job interview? Can they hold down a job once they get it? Can they try to be a decent member of society? I say decent because we're not perfect, but those are the skills I'm trying to teach people. It's great when you get a crop of students like I had last year, who a significant number of them are going to school to major in broadcast and journalism, to be on the air in sports production or in news, but that's not all it's about. And so we're trying to give them life skills. And I think for a 10th grade student that walks into this class, they have no idea that that's really what they're learning. And one of the great things that I always hear from the students who end up thriving in the class is they say, a lot of times they say, I didn't initially sign up for this class, or they'll say, Mr. Westbrook was able to see that I had a talent and capitalize on that and give them a spot here on campus. Because it can be a challenge for 2,200 students to find their place even on a campus like this with as many opportunities as we have. So when I find a student who this is their thing, that's a really cool feeling.
It's got to feel real good, especially with all the, again, the awards. Like you're doing something good here.
Thank you.
And we wanted to give a spotlight to you.
Thank you.
So not only are you just teaching here, but you said you're a member of the OSPA?
Yeah, so that's the Arkansas Scholastic Press Association. Our students actually will submit some work for that, also coming up in April. I'm on the board, and a lot of us here at Bryant are actively involved in it. Miss Abbo down at the junior high, and Mr. Croy and Mr. Turner, one floor down in newspaper and yearbook, are also on the board. And so there's actually 4 of us that are board members of that. And that actually developed over time as well. We were all kind of involved years ago. Mr. Turner was at a different school. I was at a different school. And we've kind of come together as a group of 4, I guess. And I'm the treasurer of OSPA. And so, in my free time, I like to budget. I know that's really nerdy.
Oh, I would never say that in my life. Oh, my God.
And so we were in a spot where OSPA needed a treasurer, and so I just keep up with the money for the organization.
I've
and
never
make sure
heard
we
that
have enough money to pay our bills. I wanted to be a banker. I wanted to be a banker at one time.
You couldn't be further from.
I know,
from that right
I
now.
know. Well, do we have time for a story? I'll
sure,
tell you
yeah,
now.
go for it.
So, and this is how the whole career started, actually. So, at 16, I was selected to be on a junior banking board, the only one for my entire high school, and it was like an internship program. You met once a month with a local bank, and on the second month that we met, the speaker was the public relations person for the bank. He also happened to be the morning show host of the local radio station in my hometown. And he said, if this doesn't work out for any of y'all, we also need some board ops to run the soundboard down at the radio station. So at 16, I said, that kind of sounds like more fun. And that's how I ended up working in radio.
That is
and starting out my path into teaching.
And that's kind of what you're teaching the kids here.
Yes.
Is like, you never know what your like skills you might want to learn.
Yeah.
Because in a newsroom, because you came from news as well, right?
Yeah. Well, I did sports. I was only just kind of a freelance play-by-play announcer.
Okay.
So really never spent a whole lot of time in a television newsroom.
Gotcha.
Radio, and then doing on-air work for TV stations in a freelance variety. That was a huge learning curve for me when I had to actually teach TV production. So
I get that, yeah. But
it's been a process.
You're teaching the kids like there's so many skills that goes into putting on something like this or this or an audio broadcast. Like it's not just like the talent of the people that you see. Like there's stuff everywhere.
Right. And going back to kind of what I was saying about Dr. Root saying that, we're not trying to teach everybody to be a news anchor. I tell my students, look, you may have an opportunity to just film weddings and make a whole lot of money on the side.
They make good money, yeah.
Make commercials. Maybe it's your voice. So I actually had a contract for a 2-year period with a hospital where I was their voiceover person.
Cool.
Yeah. So, just things like that come up. I've called high school playoff games at the old and the new Cowboys Stadium. I've called games at War Memorial here in Little Rock. I've called baseball games at Baum Walker in Fayetteville. I mean, the opportunities are just endless if you're willing to take them.
And it's just from the guy at your bank.
Yes.
Try it out.
Yes. Oddly enough, he's still the morning show host of that local morning show. So we're talking.
That's impressive.
20 plus years.
Man, that's quite a journey.
It is a journey, and I'm glad to be where I'm at. Sometimes you can look up and think, well, where would this have taken me, right? Mm-hmm. And you can look back, maybe question it, but I think now maybe more so than ever, I'm seeing a little bit of the fruits of the labor. 10 years, and you're seeing students who are getting jobs, and yes, it makes you feel old. But you're seeing students who are excelling beyond high school, and so that's made it worth it.
That's why you do what you do.
That's why we're here.
Everyone's here for it.
And look, coming from career tech education, I may not have known that 10 years ago. Some people set out to be teachers, and that was their life goal. I think it's an honest statement to say, I didn't know that was going to be my path, right? So now that I've realized that, it's a great thing.
That is a wonderful place to end it right there. Thanks for having us. We just wanted to give a shout out to what you do here, and we're
thank you.
Very proud of everything that goes on in this little studio right here.
Thank you. Anytime I get a chance to talk about students and what they're doing, I enjoy it. Appreciate it.